Dun 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 dun. Okay, we made it. Revenge of the Sith, part 3 of my Star Wars prequel trilogy reviews. And this time we're going classic pros and cons, so let's do this. Opening scene overall, I give as a pro, but there's definitely some bad things in there. The opening space battle, even though kind of cool and has some interesting visuals, I think is a missed opportunity to show how awesome of a pilot Anakin is, because really the only example of it we get to see is him scraping some droids off of Obi-Wan's wing. Once we get on the ship, though, there are some pros, especially this shot of Obi-Wan like launching out of his ship and then swinging around with his lightsaber. It's actually one of my favorite little bits in the movie. Also, the elevator scene I think is a cool little action beat. The other pro is that I would say the banter between Obi-Wan and Anakin up to this point is miles ahead of wherever it was in episode 2. Right now, they seem like they might actually be friends, and that's just warms my heart. Once we get to the Dooku fight, once again, I'm hit with some cons. One, because Dooku, I think, is one of the cooler villains from the prequel trilogy, but at this point, he's just unnecessary to the plot. So we kind of have to figure out a way to get rid of him real quick at the beginning of this film, and I feel like it's pretty unceremonious. This fight also suffers from a bad example of tell, not show, in which Anakin has to just let us know he's twice as powerful as he used to be, instead of, just showing us how he's more powerful. Because honestly, his lightsaber fight with Dooku isn't that engaging. It doesn't look like anything we haven't seen before, so for us to actually believe that Anakin's supposedly twice as powerful as he used to be, just kind of falls flat. Obi-Wan also comes across pretty incompetent in this fight. He just seems to be in the way. And then this platform that falls on top of him, what the heck is that thing made out of? And how are his legs not just crushed? You think the bad guys would invest more in these ray shield things, because whatever they're made out of, clearly the Jedi feel like they're no match for them. Also, the droids throughout this entire scene are just far too nice. How are they the bad guys? Even though I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities at the beginning of the film, overall it's still a decent start, so let's keep going. Anakin and Obi-Wan's conversation after they land back on Coruscant, I think, is a nice little example of banter between the two, and it's a breath of fresh air at this point. Besides the fact that Anakin and Padme seem to take no regard to try and actually hide their romance from other people who are just 20 feet away, I would say some of the dialogue in this scene, again, improvement from the last film. I actually start to enjoy their romance a little bit, and Anakin seems like he might actually be a real person in this scene, and that's a good change. Anakin as a whole definitely has a lot of improvement between the last film and this one, and his relationship with Padme has some nice moments, mainly due to the fact that Anakin just doesn't seem like a creep. It goes a long way, guys. The whole Anakin being pointed to the council by Palpatine, but the other Jedi don't recognize him as master, I think is good character drama. It's a pro. My con at this point, though, is that everything seems to really be going too fast. We're really kind of having to play cleanup as we're just skimming through a lot of what should be important character development in order to achieve the end that we know we all have to reach, which is, spoiler alert, Anakin is Darth Vader. But during kind of this whole beginning third of the film, there's just a lot of back and forth jumping between what's actually going on. We have Anakin supposedly being a spy from Palpatine on the Jedi, but then no, he's actually going to be a spy for the Jedi on Palpatine. And it just kind of feels confusing. We still get some good moments, though, like this conversation between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Again, further good example of showing the relationship these two guys should have and the mutual love and respect they have for each other. Obi-Wan fights Grievous, and I have some issues with it. It has some cool moments here and there, but there's definitely some weird things that happen during this fight. Like, what's even the use of a stun spear if Obi-Wan can just swat it away with his hand? Also, the whole final confrontation between the two is a fist fight, which looks like Ewan McGregor is fighting with something that's not actually there, because in reality he is. I think my main issue, though, is that Grievous just as a character is a big old nothing burger. He does nothing in the movie. He's just a cannon fodder, toy selling, new generic bad guy, and really does nothing to progress the plot of the film. We have this scene, though, between Anakin and Padme where they kind of look at each other from like across the distance of the city after Anakin has told the Jedi Council about Palpatine when they've gone to arrest them. I think this is really the only example in the entire prequel trilogy where it's a good showcasing of show, not tell. There's no dialogue. We just get to kind of feel this relationship that the two of them have, and I think it's pretty effective. The whole Jedi versus Palpatine fight is bad. Not only are there these horrible, super fast deaths of the Jedi Masters at the beginning, but the entire fight, I think, is probably the weakest in the entire prequel trilogy in terms of lightsaber duels. Which is sad because Mace Windu is supposed to be the super powerful character, and so is Palpatine, but we just don't really get to see a lot of cool things happen. Palpatine also makes some really goofy faces during this fight, which is just weird. The ending of the scene, though, easily is my biggest con with it, because Anakin literally goes from saying, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" to 5 seconds later saying, "I'll do whatever you ask." How do you jump from that to that so quickly? And not only that, in the same conversation, Palpatine throws out, "Hey, we might need to kill Obi-Wan." And Anakin's like, "Cool." And then he's like, "Also, real quick, I need you to pop over to the Jedi Temple. It's just a little thing. Just like go there, kill a bunch of little children. You'll feel fine. I'll feel fine. It'll be great." And Anakin just does it. This supposedly conflicted character who's like, "Oh, should I follow this path or not?" just goes and murders a bunch of children. That is beyond committed. I know Order 66 on general gets a lot of love from fans, but honestly, just within the context of the movie, I don't think it's very good. One, because I feel like the Jedi go down pretty easy. Why was Palpatine so afraid of the Jedi if it's this simple to kill them? I know they're being kind of caught off guard, but the scenes that it shows in which the Jedi are being killed, it seems pretty easy to do. So why are they considered this big threat? The other issue I have is that literally all of these other characters that we see die, we don't even know the names of. We just know them as fans from extended lore and stuff like that. And because of that, you feel like you should have this connection with these characters now when you watch it, because you're like, "Oh, I know that guy from this TV show that I watch, or from this comic I read, or from this book that I read." But reality in the film, they are just cannon fodder background characters that ultimately serve no purpose and most of the time don't even have a line. Yoda and Chewbacca were friends because there's no good reason. It makes no sense. It's stupid. Also, do the Jedi just have video cameras everywhere? Because that is a fortunate hologram right there. There's a shot of Anakin crying like a single dramatic tear after he's killed all their separatist leaders. And it just confuses me. It's not really a pro, it's not really a con. It's just why? Why are you so sad for killing the separatists, Anakin? The whole platform conversation between Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan has pros and cons. Surprisingly, I find myself almost buying into this drama that's going on between all these people. And I mean, it makes you feel some things, which is what it's trying to do. The bad thing is Anakin's motivation seems to be all over the place. I mean, up to this point, he seems to have actually been a loyal, faithful servant to the Emperor, but then he admits to Padme that, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'm more powerful than he is, so I'll just overthrow him and then I'll rule the galaxy." And it's like, where did that come from? The statement, "Only Siths deal in absolutes," is an absolute statement. Yeah. The Yoda entrance scene when he comes in is like, psh, it's cool. The Obi-Wan and Anakin fight has a lot going on. And honestly, my biggest complaint is that it's kind of too long. And the longer it goes, the more issues I start to have with it. My favorite shot in the whole fight, though, is actually the scene of the two of them in the hallway and their lightsabers. They're so close to each other that they're just like creating sparks and like going through the wall. I think it's cool. It's a cool idea and it looks really cool on film. It's one of my favorite shots, actually. Yoda kind of seems to give up his fight with Palpatine a little easily. I mean, it might just be me, but I just kind of feel like Yoda is a quitter. Ultimately, my biggest issue with the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin kind of comes at the end of the film, and it's been brought up a lot, but I'm going to say it again. This whole higher ground thing just doesn't work, and it's mainly just within the context of Star Wars in general. Yeah, I understand the importance of the high ground in most actual real-world situations, but this reality is in all these other fights we have continually seen throughout these prequel trilogy, the high ground has not been a big deal. People are constantly circumventing it and, jumping over each other and stuff, and it's not an issue. But now it's apparently the thing. My other complaints, though, is that, I mean, Anakin and Obi-Wan seem to have quite a bit of control over these platforms they're on. I mean, the one Anakin's on has stopped here randomly next to this side of the lava, so why can't Anakin just, move the platform and then get off? Like, why not just do that? Also, all this distance on the hill here, why doesn't he just like jump onto that and then just fight his way up to Obi-Wan? Certainly that should be an option, right? But no, he jumps over, gets his leg and other arm cut off, and, you know, falls into the fire. Ah, I'm burning, ah. My main issue with this whole ending, though, is the fact that Obi-Wan professes the fact that he loves Anakin like a brother here, but yet he's willing to just let him burn to death in front of his eyes. He doesn't have enough empathy for him to come up and at least just put him out of his misery. No, it's better for him to burn to death here slowly on the side of this lava lake. Padme dying of a broken heart makes no sense, and it's stupid. Especially since the droid literally says that it's like she has no reason to live, but then she like tells Obi-Wan, trust me, there's still good in Anakin, but yet there's not apparently enough good in him for her to care enough to want to live in order to like try pulling him back to the good side. Contrasting, though, the birth of Darth Vader and the whole sequence of him kind of being put into the suit, as well as Leia and Luke being born, I think is cool. And it kind of is a nice way to see the beginning of the original trilogy that we know and love. The first breath that Vader takes is pretty awesome. No to this no. Also, how did it take them 18 years to build this Death Star, but between episode 4 and 6, over the span of a little more than a year, they basically rebuilt it? Obi-Wan kind of took a chance on the fact that this half-brother kind of guy that Anakin met that one time when he came to this planet for all of 2 hours would be super open and willing to adopt his offspring. So that's it. That's all the pros and cons that I have for this movie, and I'm done. So, the conclusion, I don't think Revenge of the Sith is actually that good of a movie. Yes, it's the best of the prequel trilogy, but I would still say, from my point of view, it just fails as a movie by itself. And the reason that it's considered good is because of its competition. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the entire prequel trilogy. Thank you if you're one of the 2 people who aren't my mom who's taken the time to watch all 3 of them. Go ahead and comment down below if you feel like there's a pro or a con that I've missed throughout this trilogy. Also, please subscribe to our channel and you'll get to enjoy a lot more videos to come. And I don't even know what I'm talking about next week, so that'll be interesting. As always, this is Building Characters, and I've been Ethan. Thanks for watching. Did I actually do an ending?
Breathe deep with me over the Russian